Welcome to Stallside Podcast.
Important show today.
Yep.
We have a representative of the equine industry, Chris Baker, who's Chief Operations Officer for Three Chimneys. And we've got our own Alanna Mathes, who's the Intern and Resident Coordinator.
That's right. And Alanna's been here for quite a while and understands the industry, does all of our hiring for us with the technicians, and she's had a good career with us. We've got Chris from Three Chimneys Farm and Alanna from Rood Riddle, and these are just representatives, right? Because there's lots of equine hospitals in town. There's lots of thoroughbred farms in town. We want to talk about the opportunities that there are for people to work in the equine industry right now. Not just in Lexington, but the jobs that there are in the equine industry, because there's lots of them, and it's a great career, and you can make a career, you can have a job.
Yeah, and you touched on opportunities and challenges, and I guess we'll talk about that as well. Is that there's great scope within the equine industry, from hands-on horse care all the way up through management, and there's also great opportunities in the hospitals as well. So patient care, and then moving through supervising, training people, and administration. And so they're just going to shed a light on that, because it's just great to have good people coming into the industry, and some of them stay, some of them move on, but we want to help people develop life skills, professional skills, and go on through their life and look back fondly at their time with us.
Yep, the horses are incredible animals, and they will teach you some life skills.
They certainly will. So, Stallside this week, we're talking to Chris Baker and Alanna Mathes. We're here today with two special guests. We have Chris Baker, Chief Operations Officer from Three Chimneys Farm here in Lexington, Kentucky, and Alanna Mathes, who is our Intern and Technician Coordinator. Welcome to Stallside.
Chris, Alanna, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate you having me here.
Thanks for having us. Great to be here, and great to be part of your podcast. They've really been informative. I've enjoyed them.
Yeah, well, that's high praise. We're just really excited to have you guys here. We'll start off. Alanna, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I have been employed at Rood Riddle since 1993. I think I started as a nursing staff assistant and just kind of stayed. Y'all couldn't get rid of me, and worked my way up, and now I have a lot of people. So
yeah, we're really.
So you've seen all the changes.
Yeah.
93.
Oh,
that's
yes. Well,
yeah.
there were. I think you added a few barns before I came on, though. So
you say you, but that was before my time. 93.
Before your time. I was here when you were an intern. Yes,
yes you were.
Yes.
That's right.
That was just an embryonic veterinarian.
That's right.
That's true. Look what he grew into.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, what's your story?
Well, originally from Washington, D.C., Maryland area, was fortunate to have a family that was into horses and agriculture, and graduated from the University of Maryland and moved to Kentucky. My first job at Lane's End Farm in 1986, and kind of have had a kind of meandering career from there in both breeding and racing, with some international travel. And it's been a great career. Have gone a lot of places, seen a lot of things, and had the opportunity to work with a lot of great horses and great people. So it's been a lot of fun, and I've been in Central Kentucky here the last 10 years now. I was managing a farm in Virginia, and Mr. Evans, who owned that, passed away and moved here. Been here 10 years, and really appreciate the standard of horsemanship, veterinary medicine, farrier care, all the supporting care. Basically, the value of the horses here calls upon us to do things you might not do anywhere else. So it's a great professional opportunity and a great learning environment as a result. It's all good.
Yeah, I think you've hit on a very important concept there. It is quite the partnership. And there's a lot of people that actually go into this, and you've mentioned a lot of facets of the industry. I mean, veterinarians do their part, farm managers do their part, and the staff on the farms and the veterinary clinics also do their part as well. It's very much a collaborative and collegial environment that actually allows us to do the best for the horse. So you have actually had some great experiences by the sound of it, and worked around. What do you see as the opportunities and challenges within the equine industry at this time?
Well, they're, multifaceted, right? You can go from HISO, legislation that's being enacted, to, day-to-day challenges of running a farm or running a vet clinic, labor, those kind of things. But I think, like many industries today, skilled, motivated, engaged workforce from professionals to hourly laborers is critical part of our success or our future. You know, where are those people going to come from, and how are we going to find them, develop them? You know, and I think awareness is a big part of that.
Well, you have had like a great career through the equine industry. If you were talking to somebody today that was interested, what would you tell them to do to start? Where would you go to get that experience? And what type of people would you look to mentor you along the way?
Right. Well, I think starting with a real affinity for animals in general and horses in particular is really important. You know, at the end of the day, in this industry, whether you're a veterinarian or a farm manager or a farrier or a professional of any sort, it's a lifestyle. Right. I mean, it is a career and it is a profession, and formal education is helpful. And then, you know, mentorship and the secondary aspects of education that you get through, you know, informal or formal apprenticeships are really important. But if you don't like the lifestyle, if you're not committed to the horse in that way, the sacrifices can outweigh the benefits. If you are and you love horses, then they aren't sacrifices, right? It's what you get up and do every day. So, you know, back to your original question, somebody who's looking for a career in this, I think if you're in a position to get a formal education in regards to an animal science or equine science degree, there are numerous universities, many more than when I was at the university level, you know, that have programs that are really good programs. It's not a must. You can get that education hands-on. You can come out of high school and seek out the education you need, because so much of it you learn is hands-on. But a basis in a formal education would be great. It doesn't give you, you know, an open door kind of calling card to, you know, management. It still is very much a hands-on, learn from the ground up. So somebody who's coming in at an entry level, associate yourself with people that know what they're doing. You know, so an operation, an entity of reputation that's been working with good horses, that has been in business for a long time, that has, you know, results and accomplishments, all leading towards, I want to learn how to do it the right way. And by being around the right horses and the right horsemen, the right mentors, the right teachers, you're going to be in a position to learn the right way. And then if you make that investment in yourself and in the horse and apply yourself to it, then which aspect of the business you end up in, veterinary care, farm management, racing management, training, you know, there's a lot of different ways it can go if you come about it from the right start and the right foundation.
Yeah, and I think that's a really important point too, because you can only get so much book smart, right? You can go away, you can learn something, but so much of what we do is almost learned by osmosis from absorbing the people around you. And if you have somebody that's very experienced with the horses, I mean, they know the horses, right? I mean, the horses pick up on the cues. Is this person going to be somebody I can get along with? Is this person going to put me in an adversarial situation? And just those subtle nuances of how you actually relate to a horse, you cannot teach that. And so you've just hit the nail on the head. You've got to associate with good people through your career, and they're going to be the ones that open the doors and get you to the next level. And then Bart and I can probably say the same. And we've talked a lot about mentorship, and in previous podcasts, how veterinarians have come in, and Bart's mentor, Scott Pearce, has been in, and, you know, that was actually, you know, sort of like two old friends sitting around the fireplace having a chat. But I know in my own career, it's that people have actually been generous with their advice, they've been generous with their time, and that's allowed me to somehow stumble to where I am now. And so that's my philosophy, is that, okay, well, you know, hand it back, right? Hand it on. Somebody paid it forward with me, and I've got to pay it forward to someone else. And that's so important in the equine industry to do that. And it's really good that you brought that point out, because I don't think everybody realizes that just because you get your newly minted equine science degree does not mean that you are going to actually be able to ascend to that high level of management without just doing the hard yards. I mean, people are made, they're forged by their interaction with the horse. They're not actually just anointed.
No, that's right. I think that's right, because there's classroom theory goes so far, and then it comes to the hands-on, to the getting the PhD, the informal PhD from the horse himself, and
yeah,
there's some of them that teach a little better lessons than others.
Yeah,
but you mentioned the sacrifice, Chris, that's required, and it's true that horses they need in a lot of cases 24-hour-a-day care, and they don't take days off. But that doesn't mean the people can't. And you talk about the sacrifice, and I think that's kind of the traditional viewpoint. Do you see the industry bending a little bit to make up for the generational differences in how much people want to be out there? Because frankly, not everybody is made to do the same thing 7 days a week.
Well, I think that's a great point. And is it, adapt and die? I think, Darwinism is probably in full play here in the workforce. And I think we've looked at and talked about a lot of things. Do we go to flex time? What does it look like if you have 5-day weeks instead of 6-day weeks? And, those kind of things for people that want to have a balance of other aspects of their life. And it's certainly on the table, and I'm trying to, as somebody in a leadership position in my organization, and trying to, find people, open my eyes to a lot of that, because just the same old way isn't going to work. I don't have a great answer for that, but anything's on the table. I think the need is great enough for skilled, engaged workforce that we've got to be willing to do all that. And I know it's true at the veterinary level.
No, and we've talked about that in some former episodes. How there's some bending that needs to happen, and some accommodating, because you talk about the balance. I'm not in love with the term work-life balance, but those who try to achieve it, I don't think they're wrong. Just because that's not the way that we did it, that I did it, it doesn't mean that it's not better, and that we can't have happy workers who do the same, job that people who are working 6-7 days a week are doing.
Is it possible to have a meaningful, productive career, be the husband of the century, and the father of the year in and year out? Are there enough hours in the day, days in the week to do that? I don't know. I like you, I get the balance and understand it. You hear that a lot lately. The ability to juggle between those, whatever your personal and professional life, whatever they might bring. It may not be a husband and a father. It could be, whatever, but the balance of those three things, I think it is a worthwhile goal, and how anybody, makes those choices individually. I think it's a very individual thing.
But none of us do this because it's easy. We do it because it's difficult. And the demarcation between work and the other aspects of your life, it's not really a sharp line. It's a little bit fuzzy, because I may not be on call or responsible, but if Chris Baker calls me up on a Sunday, asks me something, I'm sufficiently invested in your success that I'm going to pick that phone up. And people could look at me and sort of say, what else is wrong with you? But that's the whole thing, isn't it? Right? I mean, right. It's a partnership. The line between things is fuzzy. Our needs and our wants all bleed into each other. And, you mentioned the word lifestyle before. This is a commitment. We all are on this bus committing to something greater than ourselves, trying to do the best possible thing by that horse, because that horse provides so much enjoyment, so much fulfillment, and for many people, their income. And so we've all got to be on the bus, or we need to get off at the next stop, and we need to put somebody on that wants to be on that bus.
I think there's different levels too to that. We've changed a lot over the past several years as far as our, we don't hire everybody to work both weekend days anymore. They work one. They might work both weekend days during certain months out of the year, and we just tell them that up front. And surgery techs, they're a little bit more of a flexible schedule and 4 days a week. So we've tried to do, to roll with the times as much as we can. It just depends on how far you want to go in your career, I think.
That's true, yeah. And people talk about like generational differences and how everybody works, but I think ultimately people just look at how they want to achieve their goals a little bit differently. Once upon a time, everybody just worked 9 to 5 and they were pretty happy. And other people says, well, as you say, I want to have time off when I have time off. I want to work these hours. Someone's going to fill in and work the night shift. I mean, we can get it all together. We just need more people to do it. And from a veterinary standpoint, I know in the clinic here, we've talked a little bit about life on the farm. How do we attract people to working in veterinary hospitals? What do you think the opportunities are? And talk about fulfillment. Is there the scope there for people to become what they want to be and have a fulfilling career in the equine industry, healthcare? I
mean, I think there is. I did that for myself, so yeah, for sure. I have a great group of people right now in nursing staff and surgery, and they work with their people really well to give them time off. So, it's not very often that they don't get the time off that they want. So I think that's great, and that's huge. I know last season, with having all the full diarrhea that came in, Meredith would pick up the phone on nights and somebody would come in. Like, that didn't happen 5 years ago. So it's just because she's also flexible with them to let them have off, and they return the favor. They pay it forward, I guess. So yeah, I think it is something that you can accomplish.
I think it's leadership from the front too. You mentioned an individual that actually sets an example and lives to that example, and so that drags people along, because even though you may want things for yourself, I think nobody really that has a work ethic wants to be seen as a slacker.
Correct.
And so this is an industry, and it has careers in it that people have to commit and they have to work. So say somebody looks at what we do here in the hospital and they look on that as an attractive career option. How do they start? What are the qualifications that they should have to bring to the table? And how should they perceive their work life would go?
I think they start at the bottom, like the rest of us did, and they work their way up. And one of the things I think that's most important for someone to have in this industry, no matter what level, is to be coachable. If they're not very coachable, they are not going to get very far. If they have a good attitude and they come in willing to do whatever it takes, then we have people that will work with them, that will teach them what they want to know, that will help them go as far as they want to go. And if that's not here with us, if they go somewhere else, we've put people out all over the place in the world. So,
and that's a good point, right? Because not everybody that was working here with you in 1993 is still here today.
Right.
So we've had thousands of people come through and work at the clinic, and they had good experiences. So I think it's important for everybody to remember, both people looking at the industry and people hiring into the industry, it doesn't have to be a lifetime commitment, right? There are people who make careers of equine, working in the equine world, whether it's on the farms, in the hospital, whatever. It doesn't have to be. It can be, they are magnificent animals, and they're really cool to hang out with. And maybe that's just for you for 2, 3, 4 years. And then you move on and do something else, and which a lot of people have come through here and done. We have a lot of people in human healthcare and insurance. They've gone on to different careers, and good for them. And that's fine, because we need that. We have to, because not everybody that starts in this is going to stay in it and, be the chief operating officer at Three Chimneys Farm. There's only one, and there's, so in some ways it's limited, but if that's what you want and you stick with it, you can get to there. But it might be that you just want to hang out with some really cool people and some really cool animals for 3 or 4 years.
It's definitely a resume builder.
Oh, absolutely.
The volume that we see here, they can go somewhere else and piece of cake.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm just sort of thinking, I've been blessed with the most amazing technicians to work with, my technicians. Well, one of them has gone to pharmacy school, and she's currently in residency doing pharmacy. You touched on insurance. Another one of a technician. She's in the insurance industry now. She has a great knowledge of the medical aspect of horse care, and she has, looked on us as her network, and we've supported her in that. Another one went and decided to be a mother, and that's great, because that's the greatest job in the world. And my current technician, who's absolutely wonderful, she actually came through from the farm system, and she actually worked with you for a while, Chris. And yeah, and she's just absolutely fantastic. Her knowledge of horses, her ability to handle horses. I am just so lucky to have been blessed with the people that I've had to actually work. And again, none of them were born, they were all made. And the backwards and forwards between the farms and the hospital has actually been symbiotic, and that everybody gets better. We send people out into the industry, we send people out to the farm sends us people, and everybody gets better.
I think in its way, the horse is kind of a higher calling, right? I mean, it's something that relationship with the horse that you referred to, Bar, that we all have, that kind of keeps us here. But if you look at it, the requirement of effort, work ethic, attention to detail, collaboration from veterinarians that are highly educated professionals to the guy who's bringing horses in and out and, mucking stalls and setting feed, all those skills that come into somebody being successful in this industry could, as Alanna said, somebody who said, well, it's not for me at the end of the day, but the skills you learn and you develop, the things you got to apply to succeed on even a starting out level here are great life lessons for whatever you choose to do, and if you love the horse like we do, and you're looking for that authentic kind of lifestyle, that authentic thing in your life. And I think there's a lot of young people out there that are looking for something authentic that's not Twitter or Instagram or something you're doing at the mall. The horse offers that, and then it challenges you, right? It's like you said, Pete, it's not because it's easy, it's because we're hard. It's if everybody could do it, it might not be as attractive.
What would be?
So for the right kind of people, it's fantastic. And the skills you learn, whether you continue to apply them in this industry or move on to something else, are great life lessons.
But you're right. I mean, it gives you those good life lessons. You got to turn up on time. You can't phone it in. You've got to be present. You've got to concentrate. And in the hospital, people have to develop an attention to detail if they don't already have it. They have to follow a set of instructions. They have to become very skilled at observing that patient. And when it's not sort of as it should be, going through the chain of command to raise the alarm and make sure things are fine. You're exactly right. I mean, and the collaboration and working with other people, those are life skills that when you leave the industry, they're going to see you right for the rest of your life. And most of the time you get to play with cool animals and you get to watch them go ahead and be successful. And again, provide joy and fulfillment and income to a lot of people.
Yeah. Like your parents probably gave you a goldfish when you were a little boy to help you develop a sense of responsibility, of caring for something else. And imagine if that had died, you probably never would have become a veterinarian.
I think they gave up on me at a really early age. No goldfish were harmed in the path of my career. I had cats. You know the great thing about cats? They drop in, they fill up, and they take off again.
Do you still have a cat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Cat is the cat's a resident president, but cats. I'm a cat person. I've had dogs, but I'm a cat person because they sort of suit the way I work.
That fits. Yeah, I would have.
Yeah,
that fits.
Yeah. Okay. Good. At least cat wants to hang out with me when it's hungry.
Yeah.
Nobody else.
Withhold feed, and they'll hang around with you.
Yeah, they will. Yeah. Just rub myself some catnip.
But I think the point is there's lots of opportunities. I don't think people ought to be intimidated by the equine industry, and it doesn't have to be a lifelong commitment, and it doesn't have to be this thing where you're looking up and thinking you can never get to those places, because certainly you can, and there's mentorship along the way, and like you said, Chris, you get to hang out with some really special animals and do some neat things along the way. I never get over the thrill of it, being around the horses. It's fabulous.
I think that's important. I don't know how many people I interview that say at some point through the interview that they didn't know they could work here. They didn't know that these types of jobs would qualify for them. So, there are a lot of opportunities that I just don't think people know about. It doesn't have to be just one or two things in the equine industry. I mean, there's several different areas you can go into.
Yeah. Yep. And you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yes.
I've said that before.
Yeah.
But that's right. I mean, why not? I mean, come in and talk to us, talk to a farm and say, hey, am I the kind of person you're looking for? And you're right. It's being coachable and being malleable, listening and acting on what you're given. I mean, shut the gate behind you, right? This is just basic farm stuff, right? Leave the gate as you found it. Well, this is like basic animal husbandry, Yeah. Just follow instructions, do what's reasonable, and good things will flow.
And then the other end of that, Chris, how many people do we know that were working at PetSmart or working at Central Bank, or I know of half a dozen people who had just starter jobs, and somebody in the industry found them and brought them in, and now they're at the top of the game. These are bloodstock agents, and they're managing huge accounts. There's lots of opportunities there.
Yeah. And they've had other careers. I mean, I know of people with statistics degrees, people with biochemistry degrees, and they're actually working in the equine industry because that's what they wanted to do. They've gone out, they had an education, they're worldly, they obviously can handle information. They can actually get to a standard and exceed it, and they want to work on horses. So why shouldn't you do what you want to do?
Yeah. Well, it makes it all worthwhile, that passion for the horse. I think, back to the opportunity part that we touched on, whether it's here at the clinic or at a farm like Three Chimneys, the need is great for people that will show up on time and do what's asked of them as at an entry level, as a groom on the farm or entry level or experienced groom, the need is huge. So for somebody to assume or be uncertain as to whether or not an opportunity exists, there's huge opportunity out there for somebody who will, as I said, we get a lot of interns, and the thing I say to most of them in the first conversation is, if you show up on time and do what's asked of you, you'll be a star. And most of them give me this look like, what's he, anybody can do that. Well, you really can't, probably not in any job, but in particular this kind of job. I mean, you guys at the clinic, from the tech level to your all's level, it's life and death. Not everybody's wired for that, but it's important when the health of an animal, the life of an animal is based on your decision or a plan that you execute, a veterinary plan. And the farm's different. Not that doesn't occur on the farm, but we're also providing the background between matings, gestational management, neonatal care, teaching that horse to have a trusting relationship with people. Like you pointed out, it's that everyday practice. With a horse, do they know you mean them no harm? Mm-hmm. And I think with us on the farm that are dealing with neonates and young developing horses, that trust, that relationship we create with them is the most important thing. And that's the win for us. When that yearling leaves Three Chimneys to go to public auction or to go off to start its career in our racing stable, that it's prepared. It's like the high school kid leaving home, going to college, that when he gets to the dorm and gets to the first frat party, he knows when he's had enough beer and goes home or whatever, that they can make good choices for themselves. That they can, in an environment where maybe not everybody's going to be so friendly, they can fend for themselves and focus their energy and their intent and their athleticism on being the best racehorse. And your guys' wins probably come in a different, flavor. It's the horse that gets well enough to go home. Yes. It's the horse that survives all those things. But they're everyday wins that are there for somebody who sees the opportunity, cares about horses enough, wants to develop a career. And then once you get in and try and you build that foundation of experience, I think any of the four of us are living proof that anybody can do it, right?
Absolutely.
Well, I can speak for myself.
Especially in my case.
Yeah.
No hope was given for me.
Yeah. I shouldn't say that for the other three. I can certainly say it for myself, but you apply yourself, and it's remarkable what you've done.
What you mentioned earlier reminded me of something, in your comments just now, that there was a really cool study that I read recently where these researchers set out to find out if success at work made people happy. And their study got flipped completely on its head, because their conclusion when they got all done with this was happy people are successful. People who are happy, show up to work on time, who have good attitudes, become successful. And success doesn't necessarily breed happiness, but happiness breeds success.
Yeah.
So when we hire, and I talk to my management team when we hire, our prerequisite, our first two things, and how you measure the second half of it varies, but hire happy, competent people. And if I had to choose between the two, I'd probably take happy.
Yep.
Because you can teach the competence.
Yeah.
You can't teach the attitude.
Build that.
Yep.
Because a happy person's going to be open. They're going to be shredded. They're going to have a good coachable attitude. They're going to be engaged. All the things that set up for a high level of competency.
And speaking about happiness and daily success, you've got no idea the value of when you send us a picture or a video back from that foal that we send home to the farm, because you send it to me. You're my next call. I'm just firing that thing off. So, hey, everybody, look what you did.
We email it, and they all get it.
Yep.
And I'll get a lot of replies back.
Yep.
I'm super excited.
Yep. And that is success. That's fulfillment, right?
Very
Just right
much,
there.
yeah.
And again, that's part of the backwards and forwards between the farms and the hospitals. We're all in partnership.
Yeah, and I'll try and be better at that over time. I've tried to be conscious of that, because I think it's huge. You guys are as vested in that horse's survival and well-being as we are, and to not share that or have them leave here and we don't know what happens. I mean, I get it. And I'm glad to hear that, when you share that, it has that desired effect, because
It really does.
there's things we can't do without you guys. We're counting on you guys, and fortunate to have you here to solve problems for us.
I appreciate that. So, Chris, would you do it again?
No doubt.
Alanna?
Absolutely.
Well, that's probably the biggest advertisement we could have for a
That's
career
right.
in the equine industry.
Yep,
I will say
absolutely.
that my fulfillment has changed through the years, and it originally started with patient care, yes, and I'm not I'm not hands-on like that anymore, but I love seeing people come through as techs, then as interns, then as owners, or seeing people that stay in their position and just move up, and then are making more people, making more techs, and coaching them to be leaders. Like that's job satisfaction for me. More so now, I like the patient care part too, but I really like the people part.
That's true. We probably have a few of the shareholders that you were their boss at one time, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. How did you ever let Scott Alsh read through?
That wasn't my call. He was barn career. That was Aaron.
Okay.
As long as we have somebody to blame, we just needed a name.
That's right.
Not me.
That's great.
I've got a funny story on the "Would you do it again" thing here. That's internal to Rood Riddle. It was, I don't know, some February or March morning, some cold winter morning a couple years ago, and we had a case in here with a foal with an issue with a joint, and I came in at about 7:15 on a Sunday morning, and Dr. Hopper had the case, and I came into that little corner of the radiology, and where Dr. Hopper and Dr. Embertson and Dr. Bramlage all have a chair. Well, all three of them are in there, 7:15 on a Sunday morning, and I'm sitting there, and I was talking with Dr. Hopper, and Dr. Bramlage was reading x-rays and didn't, he couldn't hear me. So hey, Doc, are you doing okay? And so he couldn't hear. So I tapped him on the shoulder. Doc, you doing all right this morning? He goes, yeah, I think I'm doing okay. And very tongue in cheek said, I'm really not 100% sure what I was going to do or was meant to do in my life, but I'm pretty sure it didn't look like this.
Well, life's like a box of chocolates. That's what we're told.
But he was, like I said, he was very tongue in cheek, but it says a lot about, the people that do this and why they're here on a cold winter morning at 7:15. You've got three of your top surgeons in there trying to help a horse, help a person solve a problem with their horse. And it says a lot. And I guarantee you, regardless of what he said, I don't think there's any other place he wanted to be than there at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair comment, and that's high praise. Well, I thank you guys for your time. This has been very informative, and I hope the audience takes on board what you were saying, and that there are great opportunities in the equine industry. You've got to put yourself into it, but you get a lot more out than you put in.
Yeah. How can they get a hold of you?
Well, you can call the farm at 859-873-7053 or email the farm at info@3chimneys.com. And we have the farm website.
That's on the website.
It's all on the website, so don't hesitate. Just look us up there, and you can learn more about the farm and the history there. And as an aside to that, Rood Riddle and Three Chimneys have in the past, shared help. Kara is one, and Dana Pugh was another. People that have worked on the farm and come and worked at Rood Riddle and back and forth. So somebody who wants kind of a dual experience, it's highly possible and likely. All you have to do is show the intent to get a taste of both aspects of the equine world that the clinic and farm have to offer.
Right. Alanna, how would somebody start a career at a hospital like ours?
They just apply. The website has all the information, www.roodandriddle.com, or they can email me at amathes@roodandriddle.com. Would love to hear from you.
Great. Okay, well, that's Stallside for this week. We've been here with Chris Baker, Chief Operations Officer at Three Chimneys Farm here in Lexington, Kentucky, and Alanna Mathes, our Intern and Resident Coordinator. See you next time.